I have been with my girlfriend for 4 years, and I just realized I am in love with my best friend from work. I have not done anything yet, but I know I have to do something, and everything terrifies me. There are things you know and do not know you know, that are there, somewhere between what you feel and what you allow yourself to name, waiting for the moment when you can no longer keep not naming them. The moment when that happened for me was a Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon in a cafe 3 blocks from the office. I was alone. I had said I was going home with my girlfriend to avoid having to sit with Sebastian while he told me more about the Tinder girl he had gone out with that weekend. Sebastian did not know that. My girlfriend did not know that. I had spent 40 minutes eating alone and checking my phone waiting for Sebastian to look for me to see if I was okay. And when a message came, "Yes, there you are, I thought something had happened to you," I felt something that I could no longer call by any other name than what it was. My name is Emilio. I am 28 years old. I am a data analyst at a technology company, and I have been with my girlfriend Camila for 4 years, and she is 27, and she is the most genuinely good person I know, and someone I've had a relationship with that from the outside, and from the inside, had seemed to work the way a relationship is supposed to work. Sebastian is 29 years old. He is a product designer at the same company. I met him 18 months ago when he was assigned to the same project I was on. What happened between us in those 18 months, I'm going to try to describe with the honesty it deserves, even though that honesty makes me uncomfortable. The friendship with Sebastian grew in a way I did not recognize as what it was because it had the form of something I had had before with friends and that had not produced what this is producing. Conversations at work that extended beyond work. Lunches that started as two people from a team eating together and that gradually became the moment of the day I most looked forward to. A language between us that built itself organically and that included a number of jokes about our dynamic that in retrospect say things I did not want to read at the time. Sebastian called me partner in a way that sounded like something more than partner. I told him he was the only one I could really talk to in that place in a way that was more honest than I had calculated. There was a period when in team meetings I noticed when Sebastian entered the room before seeing him. I noticed a change in the air. I attributed it to us being good friends and that the presence of good friends feels different. But that was it. The moment of the nicknames arrived gradually. It started as a joke. The kind of joke two people who trust each other have when they know how far they can go without it being strange. Sebastian said my love to me, ironically in response to something I had said, and I responded the same way, and we both laughed. And that could have stayed there, but did not stay there. It stayed as a dynamic that both of us sustained without either of us pausing to ask why we were sustaining it. I did ask myself that question eventually. The answer I gave myself was that it was humor between friends. The real answer, which I can now see more clearly, was something else. The day Sebastian told me about the Tinder girl was a Thursday. He told me with the energy of someone who wants to share something good with their closest friend. With the openness of someone who trusts that what the other person says will be genuine support. What I felt was not genuine support. It was something I recognized immediately because I had felt it before in other contexts and knew exactly what it was called. Jealousy, not the abstract version, the specific and physical version of something I did not want in my stomach, but that was there. I responded with manufactured enthusiasm. I asked questions that sounded like what a happy friend would ask. And at some point in the conversation, I decided I was going to leave early because I had plans with Camila. I did not have plans with Camila. I wanted to eat alone at the cafe. And I waited. That Tuesday at the cafe was when I stopped being able to not know what I knew. Not because Sebastian's message said anything special. It said, "Yes, there you are, I thought something had happened to you," and then a relief emoji, and then "Why did you leave?" without saying anything. It was the kind of message you would send to any friend who disappears without warning. But what I felt when I read it was not what you feel when a friend looks for you. It was what you feel when the person who matters to you in that specific way that has no other name cares about you. And I sat in that cafe with that new certainty processing for another 40 minutes. What remains the hardest part of all of this is not Sebastian. It is Camila. Camila, who has spent 4 years being the most honest and most present person in my life, who has not done anything wrong, who has not failed in any way that would give me a convenient reason to distance myself. When I arrived home that Tuesday, asked me how the day had been, and I told her fine, and that lie was the most uncomfortable I have told in a long time, because it was not a lie about something external. It was a lie about what was happening inside me. Camila and I have honest communication as one of the principles of our relationship. Not theoretically, practically and daily. We have had difficult conversations. We have resolved things that in other couples would have ended in silence or distance. And now I had something I had not told her. Not because I did not trust her, but because I do not know how to tell her this. I do not have the words yet. I have thought a lot about the options I have. Not in the sense that any option is easy, but in the sense that I want to be honest about what is available and about the consequences of each thing. I could do nothing. Stay with Camila. Put distance between myself and Sebastian without explanation. Wait for this to pass. But what I know about feelings that are ignored is that they do not pass. They settle in. And what settling this into a relationship with Camila would do to her seems like a betrayal I am not capable of committing, even if not committing it costs me what it costs. I can end things with Camila without telling her the real reason. Tell her I feel something changed in me, that I need time, that it is not her, all of which would be partly true, but it would not be the complete truth. And telling her an incomplete version of why I am ending things with someone who's been honest with me feels like another form of betrayal. I can tell her the truth. That option terrifies me in a way I cannot completely describe, not only because of the conversation, but because of what it means to recognize this out loud, because of what it means to say this is what I feel in a way that can no longer be undone. With Sebastian, I have done nothing. I have not told him anything. I do not know whether what I feel is reciprocated. I do not know whether Sebastian has any awareness of the dimension of what is on my side. What I know is that I am not going to do anything with respect to Sebastian while I am with Camila. That is the only thing I have clear at this moment. Whatever I do or do not do with respect to Sebastian is a question that can only exist in a world where I have already been honest with Camila. What I want you to take from this story is not advice. I'm not in a position to give advice on something I am still in the middle of living. What I do want to say is something about the process of recognizing something about yourself that changes the map you had of your own life. That process does not happen all at once. It does not arrive as dramatic revelation. It arrives in layers, in the discomfort of a moment you cannot explain, in the reaction you have to something you did not expect to affect you that way, in the Tuesday at a cafe, eating alone, waiting for a message. And when it arrives, it does not give you all the answers. It gives you the certainty of a question you can no longer not ask yourself. What you do with that question is another process, one that requires honesty with the people who deserve that honesty, even when that honesty costs something, especially when it costs something. Because the people who have given you the best of themselves deserve the truth from you, even if that truth is hard to hear and even harder to say. If this story reached you, comment. Do you think that in a relationship where honesty is a core value, there's always a way to have these conversations, or are there things too difficult to say regardless of the value of honesty? Like if you believe the process of recognizing something about your identity or your feelings while in a committed relationship is one of the most difficult dilemmas that exist. Subscribe for more real stories. Share with someone who is in a similar process and who needs to know they are not alone. Reflection to take with you. Recognizing something about yourself is not betrayal. What you do with that recognition and how you handle it with respect to the people around you is where the difference lies between acting with integrity and not doing so. Honesty with oneself is the first step. Honesty with others, though harder, is the second. And that second step is what determines who you choose to be in the moments when it costs the most.